Hey, I'm Jeff Baumgartner with Light Reading. We are in Philadelphia at the SCT Cable Tech Expo 2022. And I'm joined by Guy Sucharczuk with CommScope. It's good to see you. It's been a long time.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to Real Shows.
Yeah, I mean, it's hopping in here, but we've been at the show and a lot of the activity is focused on 10G, the industry's 10G initiative. DOCSIS 4.0 in particular. And it seems like there's a lot of advancements going on with the technology that's going to underpin DOCSIS 4.0. And you guys are right in the middle of it all. So maybe give me a quick update on what you have going this week on the 4.0 front.
Sure. So we're basically being Switzerland. We're very neutral on it. So we have both ESD, which we're showing here, and FDX.
Okay.
In terms of amplifiers, I think the real question is going to be RMD versus RPD, which also falls along with that. And I think
is that where the debate is kind of centered on?
Pretty much. Yeah. Right now, I think the next debate's going to be ESD versus FDX, but right now the real debate, and I think it's almost decided, is who's going RPD and who's going RMD. And there's implications because up until now, the RMD was 1.8 gig, ESD camp for sure. The 1.2 RPD was FDX, right. But now some of them are kind of crossing over, so to speak. So. Oh,
really? So they're not like in one lane or the other now? There's some blending?
Exactly. Well, mostly blending.
Why is that?
So I think the operators are kind of aligning more. So I won't say who, but certainly one of the major operators has kind of made a shift from where they were, let's say in RMD towards RPD.
Okay.
And that's going to drive, I think, a lot of the market. But at the same time, they haven't made the decision to go to FDX necessarily. So they want to have at least keep the option open for ESD.
Okay. Now, is there other implications in terms of going with remote MAC-PHY or remote PHY kind of beyond that part of the decision? I mean, what are some of the other implications that are kind of involved there?
So in the RPD world, you have multiple choices. You can do you can take an E6000, you can turn it into what we call an E-core. Other companies have a similar idea where you basically use your traditional CMTS to drive your RPDs, or you can go to a full vCMTS, which is a virtualized CMTS, which is basically all software core. Now, one of the things we did was we de-emphasized our vCMTS for a while, but now that the customers are going the opposite way, we're re-energizing that, and we're starting and building, certainly not from scratch. We're 90% of the way there. We're just cleaning it up and reintroducing it.
Right, because I was wondering how far down the road were you there, because we've talked to you guys about vCMTS, and I can think years back, right?
We actually deployed it.
Okay.
So we're not that far behind. So we have deployed it. Customer decided that they actually wanted to go RMD, so we took it out, but it's all there, and we obviously need to update it, but it's, I wouldn't say it's trivial. Nothing's trivial, but it's certainly not a big deal.
Okay. Now, the other thing we talked about, ESD versus FDX,
yep.
Right? And we're hearing a lot more about the importance of the FDX amplifier. And I understand you have one here being shown.
We do. It's on the back side of the wall. If you want to take a walk later, I'll show it to you.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Certainly Comcast, I don't think they're shy about it, and hopefully they won't sue me for using their name. But they've been big in pushing the FDX camp. And but at the same time, we are supporting ESD for those operators who want to go down that path. And obviously, the trade-off is technology versus changing out the taps. Right. That's always been the trade-off.
Okay. Now, with the FDX amplifier, you're showing it here, and we've heard about tests and so forth that have occurred. How far down the line are you towards the finish line and saying, okay, this is ready to go?
So I think in all these, my personal opinion is we're looking at 2024 in terms of raw deployment. I think Comcast will want to have some for sure in 2023. towards the end of 2023. But before I think it becomes mainstream, my guess is 2024, my personal opinion.
Okay.
But I think that's the same also with ESD, because you have to replace the taps, you need new set-top boxes. So there'll certainly be trials maybe next year, but before it becomes mainstream and where everybody wants to be, I think we're still looking at probably 2024 as a beginning. I think from an industry point of view, mid-split, high-split, that's really going to carry us for the next year or two in terms of upgrades.
With 3.1.
With 3.1.
Okay, yeah, so 4.0 is still a little bit further out. And we've been following the debate or the discussion about ESD versus FDX for several years. And with the FDX amplifier emerging on the scene, we've been talking about that forever too. If you had to speculate, is it going to change the game or change people's thinking at this point in terms of which camp, or can they do both? I mean,
I think they'll end up doing both. I mean, everyone loves to believe that there's one solution that fits all.
Yeah.
But I believe there's going to be certain areas where ESD will make sense because it's all aerial, it's easy to get to. New build, changing the taps is not a big deal. They're not in people's backyards and all the rest of it, depending on where you live and whatnot. And there'll be areas where you just can't get to the taps, you can't change them. You'll most likely go FDX. So I think at the end of the day, we've always said, oh, there's one solution. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think multiple solutions.
Maybe multiple within operators.
Yeah, even within operators. It's just it's a technology question, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're going to use the best tool to get you what you need.
Right. Okay.
And then the question is, what's the migration to fiber to the home, right?
Yeah, because what do you think anything comes after 4.0? I mean, or is there going to be a 4.1, with 3 gigahertz? I mean, what's your, if you had to predict?
My feeling is at some point we have to bite the bullet and go fiber to the home.
Yeah.
Right. And the bandwidth that you're going to get out of DOCSIS 4, and I don't know if they're going to rev it to 4.1, doing some changes or whatever, but let's call it the family of DOCSIS 4, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
That gives so much bandwidth to the home. In some cases 8 gigs, symmetrical or more, close to 10, let's call it.
That should carry you pretty far.
It's going to carry you very, very far. I mean, most people do not have 1 gig symmetrical.
Right.
So I think the good news is I don't think we're going to have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, good. Well, it's going to be fun to kind of see how everything kind of evolves, as we get past, do the enhancements on 3.1 and 4.0 on the horizon and see how far that takes us. And I know there's a lot of different strategies and approaches that operators are going to take, but it sounds like, you got the bases pretty much covered, and we'll see where it goes.
We have RMDs, RPDs, FDX, ESD.
No.
We've got it, we've decided.
All the initialisms and acronyms you can
ever
think
want. CMTS, E6000, you've got it. And that's our pitch, is basically, look, we're the biggest guys in the industry by far. We have to support them all, and we can.
All right.
Very well.
Great. Well, Guy, it was a pleasure to catch up with you. It's been a while, and look forward to staying in touch.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.